Welcome to High Spots and Cheap Pops. Silicon Steve Valley here. And it could be said that the heartbeat of professional wrestling, particularly since Vince McMahon bought out WCW, the heart of professional wrestling has been the independent wrestling scene. And one of the companies that carved their niche and carried that dream alive into some pretty prosperous times right now was Combat Zone Wrestling. And a man who had his fingertips all over that particular company is our guest, our very first guest on High Spots and Cheap Pops ever here at the launch of our wrestling show and news site, Mr. Maven Bentley. This guy's a philanthropist. He's an activist. He's a former MMA fighter. He's also a former manager, wrestling executive, former president of CZW, and a lot more. Thank you, Maven, so much for joining us here in High Spots and Cheap Pops.
Hey, thanks for having me. Just for anyone watching, if you can see, I know this appears in my background. This is not alcohol. Maven doesn't drink. So anyone don't, if I give goofy answers, it's not the alcohol. This is water.
Me too. I've 16 months sober now. So I'm with you there.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. It was something that probably a long time coming, but we're good. We're moving forward. First and foremost, you've been in the business for 20 years. You're saying goodbye. What's the reasoning?
I mean, honestly, so it's a combination of reasons. The first one just being that I really want to concentrate on my charity work. And I don't think I can do the charity work and wrestling both really, really, really well. You know, I can do one really well, or I can do both good. And I'd rather do the charity really, really well and affect the lives of children. The other reason is just honestly, and I started thinking about this years ago, it was time for me to start spending more time with my family. You know, I'm a middle-aged guy. You know, I've had a great run. You know, and I appreciate every minute of it, including up until, you know, a week or two ago. But you know, I got two kids I'm working on making stepkids very soon, and you know, I like spending time. I got a 10-year-old I love to read with. You know, just little goofy stuff, reading silly stories. A 14-year-old that we got to go see all the Marvel movies together, and you know, it's when you have a show on opening weekend of Spider-Man, they don't get happy with you. So I'd much rather spend time with them. And like I said, I also just needed to concentrate on one. Like I was getting pulled too far away from wrestling, and my decision making wasn't what I wanted it to be. I wasn't as informed as I wanted to be sometimes. I didn't have time to analyze the way I wanted. So I didn't think that was fair to CZW or to any other company I work with to not give them 100% of Maven, because for so many years they had gotten, you know, the Maven who was taking calls from Zandig on his honeymoon, like literally setting up shows, you know, while my wife's in the shower. You know, now I'm like, guys got to call me back. Or it's, you know, you get 13 minutes while I'm driving between this senator's office and this senator's office to talk while I'm driving, but I don't have time to read your, you know, your analysis of the storyline or whatever. So it's this time, man. It's this time.
Well, it's a brave move. I mean, a lot of people would not make that move. They want that. They want the heat or the pop. They want that vibe. Hey, look, it's a brotherhood being on the road. I'm from what anyone can say. And let's see how did you get into professional wrestling? When were you like, okay, this is what I'm doing? And furthermore, how did you get involved with Combat Zone Wrestling?
So, I mean, you know, the initial, this is what I'm going to do was like I was 5. It was like not a choice. I said when I was 5, I want to be a pro wrestler. When I was 12, I made a list of things I wanted to do. It was pro wrestling, hip hop music, and be Halle Berry's boyfriend. Now, I didn't have to be her boyfriend. Halle made me dinner one day. That's a shoot. Halle Berry made me dinner one day. You know, she had a boyfriend at the time, but I count as a date. Don't care what her boyfriend says.
You love that. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. That counts in my eyes, baby.
She's still fine too, man. She's still fine.
I know what her cooking tastes like. That to me, home cooked meal from Halle Berry counts. You know, I was able to do some music things in college. You know, I got to open up for Jay-Z, got to be on stage with KRS-One. You know, did some stuff for Snoop and Dre. You know, I had a short run there, managing rappers, doing some hype man stuff, and you know, some producing backstage and stuff like that with shows. But you know, I want to say it was '96 when I had this little cable access show with a couple of friends in college around pro wrestling, and you know, that kind of sparked the bug, and we would get down to ECW a lot, and you know, sometimes we get to sneak, not completely backstage, but you know, the boys would come talk to us a little bit, and it became something I wanted to do. So when CZW started coming around after ECW closed, I had reached out to them. They were looking for a backstage announcer at the time. And I had reached out to them about possibly coming in and doing that, because I had some experience from, you know, the hip hop world of being in front of crowds and stuff. And if I remember, I think the show day I was supposed to go, my dad died like the day before, so I didn't go to the show. So that sat for a little while. I ended up finishing my master's degree. And then at the time, my ex-wife, she was my fiance at the time, she knew I had always wanted to do this. So my birthday present for, I don't know, I was like late 20s. I don't know. I was old when I started. I'm old now, right? Drove me down to CZW to meet Zandig. And I remember Zandig said, well, you want to try it? You got to get in the ring, boy. I was like, okay. And he put me in the ring with DJ Hyde of all things. And like, DJ was like, all right, man, let's try some bumps, whip you off the ropes, blah, blah, blah. And, I remember because I was an amateur wrestler. I was like, I got this. No big deal at all. I remember and John was like, oh, I guess. I'm like, I felt so crushed and defeated. But that's how it started. And from there, John said, keep coming around to school. He said, at the time, I'm probably 200 pounds. I'm 6 feet even. He was like, you're in the indies, man. You can be a wrestler. I told him I didn't want to wrestle. That was never my goal. I always wanted to be a manager or a mouthpiece of some sort, a commentator or something. I had some back injuries from a car accident I'd been in a couple of years before. So I was like, I didn't plan on wrestling. He's like, I think you can do it, man. Give it a shot. So I trained with the boys. I learned to wrestle. I mean, I've had a lot of matches. Not a lot compared to most indie wrestlers, but a lot compared to most regular people, right? Or most people.
More than me.
There you go. Right. So, I can put together a decent match when I need to, but, that's really where it started. It started with that gift of, I'm going to introduce you to this guy. I know you wanted to go there a couple of years back and your father died and you didn't make it. So let's start here. And it was interesting because from there, I think what really kind of picked up and what elevated me from just this kid hanging around the gym and, bumping around the boys to somebody John wanted to put on the show. I had lost my wallet one day and I called Zandig and left him a voicemail. Hey, John, it's Tyrone. I left my wallet somewhere. I think it might be at the gym. If you're having to be there, can you just take a look around, give me a call back? And, John got the message. He called me back. I ran a community center at the time. So I think I was like doing something with the kids and my phone was off. And, John heard my voicemail. And like it still had my old voicemail from when I was doing hip hop stuff. So it was like, much cooler than, leave a message. And John's like, man, you are the best talker I've heard in a long time. Why aren't you on my show yet? And that was, I guess, right before KZW5. And John, I think I can't. KZW5 was the first time I was allowed to come to a show, actually. As a student, you weren't supposed to be there unless you were like working or whatever. And because I had other real jobs, I couldn't always get to the shows to work. And I was able to come and I was helping out backstage or whatever. And John, he said something to somebody. I didn't understand what he was saying. And the next month, he's like, where's your suit? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, shit, I forgot to tell you to bring a suit. Sorry. Am I allowed to curse? If I'm not, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. And he said, yeah, you're on the show. I'm like, okay. And then it ended up holding off till February. We started filming vignettes with me and the rest of game history.
How did Maven Bentley come to pass? How did
the name or the character? Or this?
Name and the character. And of course, we're going to get into the Maven Bentley Association, which ran havoc through the independent scene for many years.
I don't know about havoc, but we ran. So the name Maven Bentley actually came. It was a combination of Maven Hoffman from WWE's name, because people used to joke that I looked like him. Because when I first was getting, about to get into the ring, I think Maven had just signed his contract when it was on TV, getting squashed, whatever the heck he was doing. And Bentley came from Farnsworth Bentley, who, Puffy's man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I used to like to wear bow ties for the character. I wanted to do something a little different than everyone else. Like every other, lawyer character or whatever wears a suit. So I was like, well, I'll put a bow tie on. It'll be slightly different.
And yeah, Clarence Thompson, too, was doing the bow tie vibe as well. I think that was his name.
Yeah, and he was gone by then. So he wasn't on TV as much anymore. And he really didn't strike as hard as a character, I don't think.
No.
Because my recollection is he was an actual lawyer that they used for legitimacy. But because of that, he had a limited run.
We can certainly edit. We can edit this part. It might have something to do with other things in that particular company.
Well, yeah, of course, had things.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we don't want a smart black guy.
Edit that. I'm out the business. You don't have to edit that. Yeah. There's all kinds.
We need Slick because he's more what we're looking for in that. Yeah. But
Clarence opened his mouth too much. But so I that's where I came from. Originally, I wanted to be called Thomas Kimball Greenhorn III. But, everyone is just taking to call me Maven as a rib. So I was like, well, might as well be Maven. And then, like I said, Bentley from Farnsworth, and that was that.
What's funny is, and I swear to God, this is a shoot. When I heard Maven and I saw just a picture of you, I was like, the same guy. I literally thought that when I met you in 2015, when I was working WC4. Like,
a lot of people at first. I think when I met Christian, he was like, "Maeve, you look a lot different." I was like, "Different Maven, man, wrong guy."
Oh yeah, you're nothing like him. I talked to you and it was like, oh, not even close. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I used to joke. I say I'm the Maven still employed in wrestling. As no shade on Maven, because I liked Maven, and there was Earl Hebner was trying to at one point have a Maven versus Maven match. He wanted to ref it just for his own shits and giggles, but that Maven had retired and was I think he was handling his own personal issues, and I wanted to do it on one of my charity shows, so I thought it'd be hilarious, and I wanted to come out dressed as him, like I wanted to like reverse roles, like, put him in a suit, and I'd come out to the Tough Enough theme, and maybe have Simon Dean behind me or some nonsense, but it has never happened. He was busy taking care of his own personal issues, and life goes on.
You were able to build a hell of a career. Where did the Maven Bentley Association come, and when did you decide to start running roughshod over Combat Zone Wrestling? And when did you become the president? Were you the president at the time, and that's how MBA came to pass? Or give me the timeline and how MBA became such a force in Combat Zone Wrestling.
Started actually as an idea. I want to say it was 2004. It might have been 2003, but I'm going to say 2004. I was running a community center in North Philadelphia, and I found out later that the owners of the site were being a little funny with the books, in my opinion. Things have happened. People have been removed. My understanding now is things are better. So I'm not, crapping on the company. If anyone knows that company, where it was. And so since I was the director, and I was like, okay, my summer camp budget is poop, and I've got 400 kids. Coming here trying to find something to do positive, and I don't even have enough physical space in the building for them all. So what we planned on doing was taking everyone on a field trip every day. We had no money for field trips. So I had approached John about doing this show at my site. I was like, look, it's a full city block. We got a full gym. We got an Olympic-sized pool. We're a big place. Could we throw a show here? He's like, of course you could. So we threw this show. It was CZW in name, but really it was the NBA. And where the NBA started was Rock and Rebel, who was the promoter, of license at the time, came up to me in the middle of the show and asked for more money. I felt like I was being held up. Now, realistically, I think what happened is there's an extra fee that you charge if an athletic commission representative actually shows up physically. You have to pay their payday. But no one had expressed that to me. And the way that Rebel had presented to me that day made me feel like he was just trying to rob me, like, give me this money or you're not having your show. So it was that moment where I decided I wanted to get a license, right? So I, after all that, I ended up getting my own promoter's license, and I came up with this idea. I pitched it to John, this idea of, I want to run charity shows to give the students some practice in front of a live crowd. Because typically what happened in CZW is John says, "You're up tonight, kid." And, some music hits and you walk out there and you're deer in headlights and people are screaming, "Who the fuck are you?" at you and throwing things at you, and no one cares. So my thought was almost how like NXT is now. You build a developmental that your main crowd base can be exposed to, but because it was charity, no one took money. We usually got the buildings for cheaper for free. All the money that was paid was like out of my pocket. Like I would pay for the insurance and lifestyle out of my pocket. And that way the boy, I get some of the like bigger name guys to come down as a favor. They'd work the young kids and they learn, and it'd just be a cool thing. So that became the Maven Bentley Association. Just because I like the initials MBA. That's literally, it wasn't named after me for vanity. I just thought MBA was kind of a cool thing because I have an MBA, right? When that happened, we started doing those shows, and John had come up with this idea. He had turned me babyface, leave the blackout, turn babyface. He wanted to do this youth movement thing, this new generation. It didn't work the way he wanted, I don't think. And, John had always enjoyed my work as a heel. And he had this idea for, what if we turn you, not just turn you, we turn some of our other super baby faces, and we'll put you with one heel, one super baby, and we'll create a new group. And there was me, Danny Havoc, who's super duper baby face. Ever since CZW, he is our Ricky Steamboat of hardcore, right? He can't be a heel. He tried, it didn't work. And DJ Hyde, who is super heel, right? So the three of us actually became Triple H. That was actually the original name. We didn't use NBA at first. It was Honorable Maven Bentley, Hyde, and Havoc. Triple H. We used to come water, and I make jokes about, sleeping with John's daughter and stuff, and she didn't like that too much. She slapped me a couple times. But that was the original idea. And then when we realized that Vince was watching this, or someone from Vince's office was, we decided to change the name promptly so that we didn't get sued. So then we went with, well, you have the NBA. You got, people know the brand. It's NBA. So it became the NBA after that. We moved from Triple H to NBA.
How did you become the CZW president?
Well, again, this kind of goes back to some of those phone calls with John. When John saw my community center I was running and realized I had a master's degree in business, John will tell you, John didn't finish high school. John's, he's not going to sit there and tell you, he's like, I'm street smart and I know how to make a living and I know how to do things. But he's like, I was never a businessman per se. So he asked me to kind of help him out when I became his promoter. And basically what happened was, I guess you would call me I don't know. We didn't have a title with John. And when I coordinated the sale to DJ Hyde later on, DJ officially made me vice president. And then later on recognized that he needed someone else to run the day-to-day business, let him focus just on creative. And that's when I became president.
So NBA was kind of a work, but then it became a shoot just because the business is the business. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like anything. Any good work starts in a shoot. So it might have actually been, shout out to Drew Gulak. I think he might have actually been the one that initially dubbed our group the NBA. I think John said go with it, but I think Drew Gulak actually said, you're the NBA.
Drew Gulak, that's amazing. And Drew Gulak says so many people you have touched, you've been inspired by, you've helped in the business. And let's go into probably one of my, going back and seeing your history, the faction blackout. This is a faction that is still going on today. We talk about
not a faction. Club. It's a label, not a stable.
Oh, I love it. Even better.
It's a label.
What was your experience with this faction, which is still, well, I'm sorry, this label, not a stable.
Label. Actually, I mean, it was kind of cool because it was something where I was thrown into, and I remember Corey Castle used to rip me about. He's like, you're 6 months on the show and you're thrown into the main event. And I was. It was really like a super quick learning curve because, Ruckus, who probably is one of the greatest junior heavyweights to ever lace up a pair of boots, was the man at the time. And, G's and Joker were coming up. But I mean, if you follow the independents, how good Black Cheese is, how amazing Joker is. But this was early. And then even Eddie Kingston, right? Eddie Kingston later joined when Joker went away to fight the war. He
was one of the 2 tag team champions, NBA tag team champions.
Yes, he was. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So my career in Blackout actually started with John forgetting to tell me I was on KZF5. Because if you watch in KZF5, there's a part where Robbie Marino walks the ring and hands down a shock the ring announcer or something. Or hands it to Zandy. I don't know. He hands it to somebody. He just walks the ring, hands it, and walks out. That was supposed to be me introducing myself as a lawyer serving Combat Zone with a lawsuit, right? And then we started filming backstage promos. And if you watched Fake UTV, our local television show, there were commercials for my law firm. It wasn't like a wrestling promo at first. It was just commercials for Bentley and Bentley Associates. And I was, this real shady lawyer stuff, telling people if you've ever been fired, I get your job back. And, if your car is impounded, then we can take your police car and no one cares. And just dumb, bad lawyer stuff, right?
Having fun, yeah.
And I remember Ruckus was high on me. Ruckus, again, I didn't know these guys. I'm in the locker room being super shy because, these are guys that, they're indie stars, right? White Gear's back there and Justice Payne and, Zandig. And, I knew John well, but everyone else was kind of, I shake their hand and kind of put my head down. I remember Ruckus had me cut some promos because John was like, yeah, we're going to put him with you. And, I think G's and Joker knew me from the school. Probably more G's than Joker at the time. I can't remember, to be honest. Robbie Marino didn't know me at all. Ruckus really didn't know me at all. And Robbie, I remember specifically, Robbie will tell you this. And, he'll always say, but I changed my mind. Robbie did not want me in the group. Robbie was like, why? That's what I'm here for. Like, we have a minute. I'm the manager. I'm the mouthpiece. Why are you adding a second one? That's stupid. And I remember they kind of like put me through like a test in the back. And I was cutting promos. And Ruckus was like, he's in tonight. Put him on the show, John. We need that tonight. That's perfect. That's perfect. That is perfect. And I remember Robbie at first, he was just like, dude, just do me a favor. Like remember, it's Blackout. and the gimmick was me and Ruckus. And we bring in G's and Joker. And I was like, I know my role, man. I'm not trying to overshadow you. And to his credit, Robbie, once we got a thing, and this again, I'm not trying to throw shade on Robbie. Robbie was just smart. Robbie was like, if I do all the talking, what's the point of him, right? Robbie showed me stuff that make me a better promo man and showed me how to play different roles. And to Robbie's credit, one of the things I've always said Robbie Marino did, and I owe Robbie Marino is the one that taught me what kayfabe really, really means, and started having me come to the arena in suits. Because I used to just, I wear sweatpants. I'm wearing sweats right now. I wear sweats a lot. I find them comfortable, relaxing, and I'm old, so who cares? I would come in sweats, and they were nice sweats at the time. Like I was probably going like Sean John or something at the time. And he's like, dude, you're a lawyer. Why would a lawyer change to go and talk to people in front of a crowd? Why would he think that's dumb? And I was like, you're right. Wow. So I started wearing my suits to everywhere. And he's like, dude, you drive a BMW. Pull that motherfucker up to the front. You're a lawyer. Like, don't park in the back. Pull that. He started teaching me how to do that stuff. And I've always appreciated the fact that, he was honest and he was concerned that if we both were fighting for mic time, it would look dumb. But if we knew each of our roles in the company, and I think people don't understand that enough, there's nothing wrong with knowing your role. I don't want to sound the rock, but, if you know your role and you play your role well, you can keep a job forever. I always say the Brooklyn Brawler had a longer career in WWE than any superstar you name because he knew his damn role. And he stayed there, 40 years? He was running promos last time I was there. Like he's been there forever because he knew his role. I'm a job guy. I'm the guy in the back to get the guys ready. I don't have to be the star. And, my role was, I never expected to be a star. This was just something I wanted to do for fun. And, it worked out really well. And again, Ruckus started taking me around places, brought me into Maryland territory. And, me and DJ High got close. He started taking me places. So I got to do Blackout in different places and different iterations until finally, John turned me babyface. And then, I was so connected to other places that as the NBA developed, I was able to bring it to WXWC4. I was able to bring it to RCW and it became the elite there, I think. And we got to bring it, just take it on the road and have fun with it.
It's an amazing story. And also want to just harken back to, it started because your fiance at the time, obviously whatever your relationship is now, at the time, extraordinarily supportive woman who, as a gift, no, this is your dream. Let's go do it. I just wanted to take a moment to be grateful for something like that. And then of course that just started the exact career. I think it would be fun. Now we're going to do a little word association. Some of the people that you've been involved with, we just did Robbie. So I just took him off my list. Some guys that you have. Promo man, by the way. What's up?
I was like, just got to give him props. Robbie Marino, one of the greatest promos in indie wrestling ever. I'm sorry. You're going to let
go ahead. We've got him out. It's beautiful. Justice Payne.
What I loved about Justice Payne was, again, I was a young boy coming in and, he was willing to work with me. There's a spot where I think it was the first Shattered Dreams was not looking forward to doing the glass match and he wanted to be taken out of it. And he came up with this idea. His roommate was in the crowd and he was like, yo, what if I punch my roommate in the face? Like, just shoot punch him. And you come out and flip out and throw me out the building. And he was like, make it look like a shoot. I was like, well, a shoot, dude, no offense. I'd kill you. I'd suplex you out there. He's like, do it, dude. He's like make the fans believe. He's like, don't kill my career. But like, he was like, call me by my real name, scream Chris, you motherfucker. And then we did. And it was just really, really cool. That always stuck out to me that, because again, he didn't have to let me do that. He could have, I could have, I'm joking, but you know what I mean? Like he didn't have to give me that much. Yeah. He could have just been like, well, I'll pump you 1-2. And then, have all security rush me. But like, I think it was like me and Roger from the building, Roger, who was the manager of the building, we ran out there. And I think you watch the tape, you see me waist lock him and pick him up and throw him over the guardrail. And, he didn't complain about it. He was like, make it look like a shoot, man. If you could physically move me. Because that way people will buy it. Yeah. I remember actually being so disappointed that it got such little press that week. Like, because I think we worked everyone so well back then, to be honest. That was such a good work. And then obviously there was a very tragic death that happened in WWE. So people talked about that and they should have. I was always saying, I thought that was such a good work that I thought we would have got more indie press. And people would have wondered, is Maven Bentley really, what happened? Did he really throw him out? Because we've done angles like this before again. And, I definitely got phone calls. There was lots of press. Whenever Maven lifts someone off their feet, people start calling, oh my God, was that a shoot? What happened? Oh my God. And 85% of the time it was a work, guys.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, folks, by the way, if those of you who don't know, very accomplished MMA fighter over here too. You recently retired from that. And I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah. My back is shot, man. My last fight, I did just pro jiu-jitsu. And I remember I had the guy down and I went to go to put his guard on. I went to do what's called a guard pass. So we try just get around the guy's legs so you can beat him up. And I remember it's called a standing guard pass. So you stand and pick the guy up, almost like a power bomb type position. And I just heard a pop in my back. And I remember I went down like a ton of bricks. And I mean, I was like, I'm not going to let this guy finish me. I'm not going to get tapped out or knocked out, or that's not going to happen. But that fight was over from that moment on. And I knew my career was, I kept training a little bit, but after seeing doctors, they're like, dude, your spine is so jacked up. And, I was having memory issues at the time. Coronavirus, I think, actually was my saving grace. Is when things started shutting down and I started relaxing and I was allowed to go see medical doctors, and that's it. I started feeling physically a lot better. My memory's been a lot better. So yeah, that kind of killed my MMA career. But I'm happy about it, to be honest, because I can sit in this chair and talk to you. Normally, if I'd be up and be walking around, have to stretch, lay on a brick or something for an hour now. So sitting for a half hour doesn't bother me anymore. Well,
it was just another accomplished career. John Zandig, what's your relationship?
Oh, good Lord.
How was that? You got to bring him in, right?
So, yeah, John is an interesting dude, man. So me and John don't talk too much anymore. John has shed relationships with people that don't see eye to eye with him ideologically, I guess. And I stuck around for a while. John is a huge Trump guy, and his right to be such. And John and me used to talk for a while after Trump won. We still were calling back. People may know John because he posted. He was the one that taught me how to make the exploding barbed wire bats when Anita came over. But after Trump lost, he kind of stopped talking to people that didn't vote for Trump, I guess. And at least that's what I've been told. He hasn't told me why he stopped talking to me. Doesn't take my calls anymore. But I will always say this about John. One, John Zandig was a man's man in the fact that, people can talk trash about him all they want, but I've never seen John not keep to his word. John, whatever John promised me, money, John, even when CZW sold, John owed me money when CZW sold. And John pulled things aside and said, I'm talking to this guy, this video distributor, all the checks are not being cut to the NBA. They're not going to CZW to pay you back. John, one small thing, but a huge thing to me. We used to go out and hang out sometimes, not a lot, but, because every now and then, John, if he was a single man, because, John had, sometimes he had women, sometimes he didn't. He'd go out and he'd want to go to a bar, meet a young lady, and we'd go hang out. And John, after his first beer, would always hand me the keys to his truck, which I thought was so respectful. I don't drink at all. And he was just like, just in case. And John wasn't a big drinker, but I've always respected that he'd have one, maybe two beers. And John's 300 pounds of muscle. Like he's legitimately 300 pounds at the time. And after one or two drinks, I got the keys to his truck just to make sure he doesn't drink and drive. So I always respected that. And I got to say, he stood up for me when he didn't have to. I mean, again, I was green as grass, and he's screaming at people, you use Maven Bentley's license or you don't come around here, motherfucker. People were calling me the N-word. Oh, yeah, motherfucker? 1, 2, come fight me, motherfucker. And, a lot of cursing out John, obviously. But John, I'll forever owe John a debt in this business because he looked out for me. Again, like I said, we don't talk as much as we used to. And I know John and I definitely don't agree on anything political anymore. But, as far as being a mentor and being someone who looked out for me, I can't say enough good things about the man. He's scary.
Yeah. DJ Hyde.
DJ Hyde. DJ Hyde. He first of all, let me say this. DJ Hyde is not perfect, and I'm not going to sit here and try to sell people say that he is. But I am going to say DJ Hyde is the most attacked man for shit he doesn't deserve on the indies that I know of, at least. Now, the shit he's done that is wrong, DJ and I have had words. We've made correction. We've done whatever we had to do, including things that weren't pleasant, right? Including me quitting CZW a couple times, in fact. But in general, the thing I would say about DJ is I think he gets a bad rap that he doesn't deserve for really extreme things he didn't do. Now, the unextreme things, DJ probably, DJ has pissed people off. He talks in a way that can be very offensive to people. If you're out there trying to work and bleed for him, and I know some people don't like the way he or they've come and said I don't like the way he spoke to me. I don't think DJ means to say mean things. I think DJ like example, like I've gone and done something for him, right? Like I'll go to the ring, someone's injured or something, and we have to stall, or a camera's broken. I'll go to the ring, and you've seen me do this in WXWC4, I think. And I'll go to the ring and I'll stall for a little bit, and I'll come back and like everybody, thank you, Maven. Oh God, you saved the show, or this guy's taking a poop and he couldn't get to the ring. The fans don't even know, and you're like, that was really fucking corny, dude. Like, what the fuck are we? WWF from 1980? Stop it. And it's like, oh fuck, man. I just ran out there and helped your show. But mind you, because he's my friend, I know he's not trying to shit on me. He's trying to say, I wanted you to be grittier, as opposed to hokey Maven, who, and that's cool. But so that's why I said about DJ Hyde. Is DJ Hyde, for people to say that he's upset them by the way he speaks to them, okay, I'll side with that. But people who say he's done like some of these super horrible things, I am not aware of any of them. And if they have, I always tell people, anyone who's ever worked CZW knows you can come to Maven with a problem. And if you bring me the true problem, I will do my best to fix it. And for the things I have heard about, I have absolutely worked to fix. And if they weren't fixable, then either they were separated from the company or whatever. But I think he gets a lot of crap online that he doesn't deserve.
Ruckus,
greatest junior heavyweight to ever never go to WWE, man. I mean, like, I don't know what else I can say about this guy. Ruckus has been consistent for the last 20 years or so. Whether he's 500 pounds or 20 pounds, like the kid, he was the joke junior heavyweight because he was a big dude at one point, right? Another thing fans don't know, Ruckus is a shoot like wrestling champion. Like Ruckus can shoot fight. And I always say, I used to have a joke with the boys that if anyone could pull off a Hooting Hirata in a bar fight, I'd give him $200, except for Ruckus. Because Ruckus could probably do it, I was like, not you though. No, not you. So I mean, this nice dude. And to this day, we don't talk as much as we used to because we're on the road together. But Ruckus hits me up every now and then. I mean, Ruckus is one of the first people to hit me up when my mom passed, and just trying to look out for me. And he's also one of the first people that was working my charity shows. And Ruckus doesn't drive, so Ruckus has to get someone to drive him to the shows. And he lived in Maryland. They were usually in the Philly area. It's a 2.5 hour drive sometimes, and he never ever complained. Never ever, was like, oh man, just hey, was it good? Is that what you needed? Awesome, and go about his day. So I can't thank Ruckus enough too, because Ruckus again also got me in a lot of places. A lot of doors were open because oh man, he's with me. Bring him in. He's good. It worked.
How about Black G's?
G's is my favorite opponent. I think me and G's. Like again, I actually talked to him yesterday. G's and I think we have great chemistry. And when me and him go promo for promo, I think that's like a top indie kind of feud type thing. It's funny because I remember when G's broke his jaw, G's was not a great talker. And I can't remember if it was Burns or if it was John or somebody. I remember saying, when I said to John, said, I want to do something to help the kid out. But I think I said, well, let's just put him on commentary. Because he had said, I want to learn to talk better, and we put him on commentary for a couple matches or whatever. And, he really started getting commentary down. And me and him just, like when he came back to CZW after leaving for a while, and we did the feud. That was great. Jesus is also a fearless heel, which I love because I was one myself. Of course, as promoter, sometimes it's scary because sometimes he says something that makes people not want to come back. And like, I'm all for it. Get as much heat as you need to get to when the babyface comes, they pop. But, then it's like, I'm kind of going back on my thing. Like, yeah, you can't say that because that was 5 front row tickets that they're not going to buy anymore, man. You can't say that anymore, dude. But G's again, man, that dude, and so solid in the ring, so solid. And if you watch Sabian versus G's,
yeah.
Like Sabian was a bump toy. Like Sabian could do all the high flying, was great, and just got thrown around a lot. G's now knows where to put it all, so he can still fly, can still do all the stuff, but does it in a way that one preserves his body better, and two makes more sense psychologically, and also will allow him to play with his kids when he gets older. So G's is just made one of my favorite people to be on the opposite side of a microphone with. Just love G's.
How about Nick Gage? Any Nick Gage stories in CZW?
Oh man, Nicky. What's funny? It's like obviously there's a lot of things happening with Nicky and stuff. I think what I really like about Nicky the most is that Nicky always, when there was heat forming between Nicky's new company and us when Nicky left, Nicky always came to me and asked me face to face like a man. Because there was all kinds of rumors, and I'll say them here on your show. when people, they even called the police to try to get the show shut down. Maven called immigration and got guys stopped the border. You know, when all this was happening, my mom was dying. Maven wasn't doing shit but sitting in the hospital hoping my mom wasn't going to die. And I remember Nikki came to a show and pulled me aside and said, dude, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? They told me you called immigration on so-and-so and what the fuck? I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then, yeah, I'm quite honest with you. I just left the hospital to come here. I'm going right back afterwards. I don't know shit about shit. And I always appreciated that about him. That you know, Nikki also was I don't know if he meant to do it on purpose, but he was a Maven Bentley booster in the beginning. He was the one, like he came down to school a couple times, worked out with me. I remember cussed me out because my pinfalls were shitty. Don't you ever fucking hit me like that, you pussy. Hold me the fuck down or I'll punch you in your fucking face. Like, all right, yeah, got it. I used to do I used to like a Peterson, like anyone's amateur wrestling, we just lay back kind of on the guy. And, you know, and it's like, this is a work, I'm not really holding him. He's like, the fuck, I'm the gauge, motherfucker. All right, my bad. But I remember specifically, you know, we had a gimmick where, you know, the Hate Club were fading blackout. And we didn't want Robbie to get bumped until the cage. And Chris Cash was going to come out and fuck people up and whatever. And they're like, oh, grab Robbie. And Nate's like, no, don't do that because Robbie's got to save it. And Robbie's like, no, man, you're going to kill my heat if I get hit now. We got 6 more months to go or whatever it was. And Nikki looked at him, dude, Maeve takes a hell of a bump. And, you know, and it felt like he meant it, not like, you know, we're going to fuck the young guy up. But he really, you know, like stood up for me, like, nah, man, like let Maven, if Maven gets in the ring and tries to attack Chris Cash from behind and hit something, and Cash fucking gives him the gimmick, oh, the place will go ape shit. And it did. And so I appreciated that. Also, side note, Nick Gage is also a good road buddy because he and I both enjoy old school hip hop music. And Nick used to say that I always love rolling with Maven just because there's always some fucking Rakim, some fucking KRS-One, some Brand Nubian, good shit, man. So yeah. Nikki is cool. Despite some of the rumors to the opposite, I to this day, I would say I don't have heat with Nick Gage. I disagree with some of his choices. But I if Nikki, you know, was walking in my neighborhood tomorrow and I saw him, I'd stop and talk to him.
Yeah. And he's lucky to be alive. And I think there's some gratitude there. There's some really positive things about his story too. So
yeah, Nikki, I mean, let me tell you, so that was the day I almost quit wrestling. The day Nikki almost died. Nikki, you know, the whole gimmick where people say, you know, oh, he died in the helicopter, or whatever. I don't know how long the time was. People said 7 minutes. I don't think it was 7 minutes because you're not coming back in 7 minutes in the same way. But I do believe he might have flatlined. And I do remember me literally saying, what the fuck am I doing? I'm quitting. I can't be a part of this. It's partially also part of my job is to provide for the safety of the boys. You know, John was still in charge and John was always final say. But, you know, I would, you know, Shawnee and me would go through stuff and, oh, you can't use this too much and whatever. I mean, it was really Shawnee's team that did it first, but he would bring me over and I was kind of like that next step to Zandig of, okay, we can't use this. It's too dangerous. I felt so bad because I was like, you know, I wasn't part of that setup of the main event. I didn't see what happened as far as, you know, what was out there and what the fuck. But I also remember, you know, worth saying that Dr. Nancy Faulkner, who's no longer with us, she has passed on. But Dr. Nancy Faulkner, I called her the next day crying because she, you know, and I mean, I'm not like boohoo tears, but I definitely choked up. I was like, I just want to say thank you for saving my friend's life. Because she needed, I mean, you know, she was there as a fan. Like she wasn't working for us that day. You know, she was our PA doctor. She just came down to hang out. And when she saw what happened, she was backstage and like, this is what we have to do. And we need him in the hospital now. And she saved his life. So, you know, Nick, and I always say this, young wrestling students, watch Nick Gage promos. He's the only man who ever robbed a bank at fist point. That's something.
That's some shoot shit right there.
Yeah, seriously. I can't rob a bank at fucking fist point. I'll fucking kill you, bitch.
No fucks to give, bro.
Okay. I mean, what do you have a pizza cutter on him? I mean, he didn't have a weapon. I mean, and she gave him what, $3-4 grand? I mean, holy shit. And Nikki doesn't drive. He walked out. Think about how scary you have to be that no one calls security. This motherfucker gets money from you and walks out. He doesn't drive, people. I mean, I'm sure there was a car waiting a block or two away, but he doesn't drive. He walked out. Holy fuck. With no weapon. That's a promo.
Speaking of Nick Gage, and we're going to, and this is word association, but just briefly on the GCW, CZW angle or whatever it was.
Angle.
I know it wasn't, but I think it was proposed to be an angle, and then
yes,
Nick Gage and others.
So long story made short is I won't work with certain parts of GCW management because of things they have said in the past that were both racist and just horrible, in my opinion. It was proposed to me that they wanted to do an angle. I believe I told DJ that I didn't want any parts of it, and if he wanted to do it, he was welcome to, but I wouldn't stick around. DJ chose to keep me around, and I always say, and I've always said this: don't let me be. No one is so important that they can't be let go. So believe me, there's no hard feelings if you want to do this, because it would have been a moneymaker. Let's be fucking honest. It would have been a moneymaker. But I just didn't want to work with certain people over there. I felt they were disrespectful and, whatever else, right? I always said the only regret I ever had in CZW, and I love Nikki, is that I didn't choke him out. Like, I should have choked. I should have ended the whole fucking thing. I respected him so much, and I believed that Nikki was told that he was supposed to be there, because Nikki kept saying, I'm working, dude, I'm working. His bonus come. And I think, maybe he worked me and I didn't know. I felt like, that's the only reason, if people were there, because there's not much footage of it, we didn't really put it out there. But if you watch, I angle up on him to choke him out the whole time. In fact, if you watch, I think I push him. If he gets in DJ's face, I push him, I square up. He pulls Matt Tremont in front of him and tells Tremont, tell me if I'm working. And everyone starts rushing the ring and telling me to calm the fuck down. And, guys trying to separate everybody. And I remember I asked DJ, I said, you give me the word and he'll go to sleep right here, right now. And this isn't a show. I'm sure someone's going to try to send this to Nikki. Well, maybe he's tougher than you. I'm saying that if Nick Gage is working and I'm shooting, I'm going to win, because he's not expecting it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not insulting Nikki at all, because I was angled to put a triangle choke on him, and he would have went to sleep quickly. But all that to be said, I think the whole thing, as cool as it seems to wrestling fans, I thought it was very disrespectful to a company that made all the people that were involved in that angle. All of them were made at CZW. Two, I think, and I'm sure he's not saying anything about it, and I'm not trying to call him out to say anything, but I felt so horrible for Joe Gacy, because when I was in the back when it happened, I didn't see it happen. I just started hearing the chants, and I was like, why are they chanting that? I said, did the match go to shit? Did it fall apart in the chant? And I looked out in the ring and I see Nikki in there and whatever. I remember I grabbed Nate from the ref and I gave him my jacket. My jacket had the door in it. It was found like $10,000, $12,000, I don't remember what it was, dollars in cash. I say, don't you fucking move. And he said, got you, man. And I get in the ring, I tapped each other. I said, work or shoot? He said, shoot. I remember, so I started squaring up. And then all I remember, though, is that Joe Gacy, he was in the back. Joe had come off the top of the cage, if people remember that match. And he had this huge gash in his head. I felt like he was getting stapled, maybe. And he gets off the table and tries to get in the ring to calm things down. And I'm like, how fucking disrespectful do you have to be as a member of this wrestling fraternity to interrupt the show to a point where your brother, because we're supposed to be brothers, right, brother, is denying medical care to try to calm down a situation that you started. And that, I think, hit me really, really hard. And I don't think it hit him as hard as it hit me, because, again, I'm responsible for people's safety as a promoter. And that really hurt me. That what if Joe Gacy, what if he had bled out? What if he had, had a more serious injury than we thought, and the doctors weren't looking at him, and, something else happens because he's worried about these fucking jerk-offs, wanting to play, the Last Outlaws or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, again, I'm much more aggressive than I've been allowed to be in CZW. And, it had been my way, I'd have fucking showed up at their thing and beat the shit out of all of them, I was more mad about that. I was more mad about the kid that worked the building that lost his job that night, I believe, because that chaos put us behind our cleanup, and the cleanup wasn't done thoroughly enough. And that was a kid's gymnastics place. So there was like glass on the floor when kids were doing tumbling the next day and shit. So that fucking guy, I don't remember for a fact, but I feel like he was a 22-year-old single father of like a one. So that motherfucker is now unemployed because these assholes wanted to play cool guys and NWO it and think they can just fucking roll in shit and shoot, I also would all like to say is, they all swore up and down they were working, everyone who entered that ring, and then laughed about it the next day. We weren't working, it was a shoot. My thing is, if you were the tough guy you wanted to be, you would have called for the shoot in the ring. I mean, hell, you know, I'd have been happy to fight one of you in the ring. And we could have made, hey, the tape would have sold great. I'd have split the fucking proceeds with them. You know, but, you know, whatever. It's to me, it's just so disrespectful to put other wrestlers in danger if you're supposed to be in this business. And that's what, again, Joe Gacy getting off the table would fuck me up more than anything, I think, really. Because I'm like, Joe Gacy's a good kid. I remember when he first tried out for CZW. He, you know, to me, I still see him as a young kid because he was like, what, 18, 19, 20? I don't know. He was a young guy when he came in. And like now this guy who's becoming a huge star, you know, what if he had a much worse injury? It was a head injury. And he gets off the fucking table to help. To me, that was just fucking ridiculous. And they should be ashamed of themselves.
John Moxley. What is your
love Mox, man? Love Mox.
What's the Moxley? And by the way, the first time I ever knew who John Moxley was, I thought he was Dean Ambrose because I started getting back into wrestling around 2013, 2014. Right. And then I was like, I really like this Dean Ambrose guy, probably more than the other two. And then I saw he was John Moxley. And dude, Moxley, some shoot interviews, some rapping, some Terry. I mean, he did some stuff with Point Break. There's a video running around where he's doing Point Break as Terry Funk and American Dream Dusty Rhodes. Tell me about this guy who's now is one of the biggest names in professional wrestling.
Mox is awesome. I mean, and I always like to joke, I'm the last guy that Moxley hit on his way out the door of CZW. He gave me the fucking RKO and my boot got stuck in the fucking ring thing and I couldn't take the flat bump. So like I take it on my head Sabu style. Remember Sam Callahan, oh shit, that was the best bump ever. Holy fuck. But anyway, Mox was just so creative and so fun. And another guy I like doing promos with, because I mean, for old school CZW fans, you'll remember the Batista promos. Like we used to do these things where Mox would go through these matches and he's all fucked up in the back and Maven, I want to fight Batista. This is when Batista retired from wrestling. He's retired, Mox. I don't care. Bring him back, Maven. Fucking Batista, you motherfucker. I'm gonna kill you. And it's like this goofy shit, and it was just so much fun. You know, and again, like you said, Mox is one of those guys. I mean, there's videos somewhere. I think it's him and Richie Swan playing the CZW theme song on an acoustic guitar, like in the back of the parking lot. I mean, he was just a fun dude to be around, and you know, such a great worker. I remember Les Thatcher used to hate when he came to CZW because he trained with Les for a while, and Les and DJ Hyde are good friends. So you know, Les would come over to CZW and watch guys do seminars for us, and he used to shit on everything Mox would do in CZW. Oh, what the fuck was that bull? The fuck are you using gimmicks? Oh, you're fucking using blood instead of actually working. And I mean, Mox was like, yeah, but I got paid $50 more. So fuck, you know. I mean, Mox was just such a fun dude to be around. And you know, again, I don't talk to him often now. Every now, I sent him a text when his baby was born. He sent me back thank you and all that. I mean, but I'm happy he's getting his life together, like his shoot life together, and I'm happy that you know, he's able to make a living doing what he loves to do. And I'm happy he's doing it in a way that he likes to do it. Because, you know, I mean, it was no secret that he was unhappy with Vince towards the end. And Mox is so creative and so fun that I think that's why fans gravitate towards him. Because that whole street dog or death rider or whatever character he does it's fun and also ass kicking. So it allows him to have so many different facets. And that reminds me of John, you know, like when you hang out with him. He's more fun when you hang out with him and want to kick your ass, hopefully. But you know, just again, another nice guy who came through CZW, had so much fun. I mean, I'm not disappointed he got signed because I'm happy for him. But him and Ego, I remember coming up with the idea of that pairing because they were opponents all the time. And I'm a Paul Heyman guy, and the idea of if people are really good opponents, they make good partners, you know. And we did that a couple of times. We did that with them. And I was disappointed we didn't get to see how far that went. I thought that pairing was so much fun in CZW. You know, again, good for him. And I'm just hoping he gets himself together where he wants to be because, you know, he's got a beautiful child at home. He's got a beautiful wife at home. And you know, my thing is, you know, fuck wrestling. I want your real life to be straight because that's where I'm in my life. And I want that for everybody else.
Yeah. And I've struggled with alcoholism myself, and I know exactly what he's going for because when you say goodbye to the alcohol, you're saying it's something that defined him for so many years. It was part of who he was. I'm a big drinker. I love drinking. It's booze. It's celebrated. And it's hard to say goodbye to that was so much a part of you. But then you see these other parts of you that, okay, I got these children. I have a career. I'm still relatively young and I can do some great things. And I think that baby girl, which certainly my baby girl helped. I think it's going to give him.
Yeah. Well, I think he hasn't told me this much, but I think that might've been what got him to go. And I'm happy. I just want to see him succeed. He's a good dude.
Yeah. Eddie Kingston. What do you know about Eddie Kingston, former stablemate? Oh, I'm sorry, labelmate.
Yeah, labelmate. Me and Kingston did not get along a lot. It's actually kind of funny. I don't have any heat with Eddie, and I feel like me and Eddie actually squashed it because Eddie, last time I saw him, he had said to me, "Hey, man, can we just let this be?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But I don't even remember how it started, to be honest. I remember. I think it was when he and Drake wanted to do some shit when they won the tag belts. I don't remember what it was. They had some idea like people coming to jump them or something, and DJ basically said, "You guys call it, get the guys you need, and you have enough pool in this company that I'll let you book that ending yourself." And it was not booked well. I don't know if I wasn't a part of that ending, but all I know is something went to shit, and Eddie flipped out backstage, and there was an altercation. And I mean, no one actually threw a punch, but there was a little bit of, whatever. And I remember Eddie punched the door or something. And I remember this is where me and him, I think, got our heat. And if Eddie watches this and he wants to correct me, I'm fine. I'm not shitting on him. He was upset. I get it. But, I think I fined him for the door because I was like, I got to buy a new door, pull $100 out of his pay or something like that. And he was, well, fuck you and fuck your mom and fuck your dog and fuck everything. And I'm out. If I remember properly. And again, Eddie, I hope I'm not misrepresenting you. If I am, then I will publicly apologize. That's what I'm trying to do. I remember there was like that kind of, he was so pissed off about it. And that was the end of him in CZW that time. And, and DJ used to say shit. And then this is, again, this goes back to DJ saying shit he shouldn't say all the time. I know he used to say it as a joke, but it annoyed people. DJ used to like, you know what? If you people don't want to act right, maybe it'll fuck all you up because maybe he's the only real tough guy in the locker room or some shit like that. And I heard later that Kingston took offense to it. He did some interview, and DJ said, "Maven, go fuck me. Fuck you, Maven. I'm from Yonkers. I'll fucking murder you." I didn't say I was going to fuck you up. I always say I'm actually not a very violent person at all. I don't get in a lot of street fights. I haven't had a street fight since I was 8. Like, you know what I mean? But in a competitive environment of MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling of any kind, I'm a formidable opponent. And, that's what I've said. And DJ used to say that. And I don't know if it was just because he was trying to hype people up or, every now and then when we were doing documentaries, there'd be a camera there. But I think that pissed Eddie off too, because he's like, who the fuck is Maven? Maven, I think that's just heat unnecessarily. And I'm like, I don't care. I did care when you broke something because I'm responsible for the building. I'm the promoter, so they come back to me and they want me to pay for that. So yes, you break a door, I'm fucking pissed off, and yeah, I'm gonna take that money out of your pay. But past that, I don't remember anything. Like I said, I remember last time I think I saw him, me and him were cool, and he said, "Oh, dude, this is dumb. Let's just whatever." But I remember him saying shit about me in some interview when people were sending it to me, and again, I haven't talked to him, so all I know he's just trying to fucking work. I don't know. I'm like, again. But again, I would say Eddie Kingston, another great promo. I know him and Zandig didn't like each other. I know that. And I might have also been heat because I was a Zandig guy. But Eddie Kingston, he's one of those few people that says a promo and you believe it. You forget it to work for a little bit.
Well, it's been an incredible career, and I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. Where do you see the world of professional wrestling going now in the state of all the things that have changed since you joined and where it is now? Where do you think it's going?
I mean, I think we're going to see a boom and then a bubble explode. I think with AEW, assuming the pandemic gets better, and we don't know what's happening with that, right? I think AEW is going to give fans an alternative the way that WCW did at one point. And I think that creates a boom for everybody, right? I think the other thing that happens for the boys is that there's more places to work. And make more money and get nationally exposed, which creates a boom on the indies because AEW allows a lot of their guys in indie work too. So that means you have local stars that can come to your home territory and, kind of almost a Ric Flair model, right? You can do a 60-minute draw with Moxley, look like a fucking star, because, I saw Moxley on TV and holy shit, Joe Champion hung with him or whoever the fuck your local champion is. But I think there's going to be a boom there. And then I think it's going to bust just because. I mean, obviously the rumors Vince is selling. I don't know that that's true. If he is, good for him. If he's not, good for him. Whatever. But I think you're going to see as COVID hopefully dissipates and folks can go and people are more comfortable in person. I think you're going to see a bit of a boom. I think you're going to see indies resurge because people just wanted something to go to. I think you're going to see digital platforms be more important than they've been in the past. I mean, this already started happening with COVID, right? You know, Netflix and Hulu and all these motherfuckers, Disney Plus, they started making all kinds of money. And I think that, you know, sites like, you know, CZWstudios.com was an idea that we had way before WWE Network was invented. And, you know, we finally got it off the ground. And I think that kind of thing will be great for CZW. I think independent wrestling TV will work well for them. I think the Fight TV, all those kinds of folks like that will start making some good money. I also think that there's going to be some a change in the way that wrestling is promoted. You know, some companies are going to have to make the decision: are we a TV company or are we a live event company? Because for the indies have always been live event companies, but now there's so many places that where you can become, you know, for lack of a better term, a TV company. You look like an MLW, right? I mean, MLW now has TV. So if they don't, you know, in Philly they use the ECW arena. If they don't sell it out, they can fucking, you know, flash everybody on the hard cam side and make it look good, and they're still going to make their TV money. So even if they can't draw the people they want live, you know, if you start papering it or do whatever, there's, you know, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's different because, you know, Vince did it, WCW, everyone's done it. You know, again, I see an explosion, and then I see the bubble bursting. I think, you know, there are going to be too many people trying to do too much, and then it self-corrects the same way the stock market does, right? There's a big boom and then there's a correction. I think that's what happened with wrestling.
What are you now going? You said your charity work. I want to get into just briefly, what are you doing with charity work? By the way, philanthropist, activist, Maven Bentley, what are you going to be doing and focusing on?
So what I'm really focusing right now is on early education. That is education before the age of 8. I'm trying to ensure full funding for that, to be honest. You know, without boring people to death, that's typically the age where if you're not reading on grade level, that you will never get back on track, and you're unlikely to graduate high school, which means you're more likely to end up doing drugs, which means you're more likely to end up doing crime. You're more likely to do a bunch of negative things. And then obviously it's not a one-to-one correlation, but my thought process is there's so much underfunding of education and so much what I'm looking for. I use the word disrespect to teachers on all levels that it's hard to keep good teachers in classrooms. You know, again, I start early age, so we're talking even preschools, nursery schools. You know, I work there too and work my way up in the basically around 3rd grade. And you know, I'm finding, you know, preschool teachers with degrees making less than people making sandwiches at Wawa. Yep. You know, and that's no happy Wawa's paying their people well. Does not insult the Wawa. Pay your people well. That's a good thing. But you know, it doesn't make sense for someone who went to school to get a degree to be making less than someone making sandwiches, right? That concerns me. It concerns me when I was a school board member. I was a director of a school board elected in my local township, and you know, I'm looking at the fact that, you know, some of our entry level teachers are being paid, you know, just not a lot of money at all. And my thing is, I'm not saying people don't get them teaching for money, but people leave it for money. I think that's what people miss a lot of times, is that, you know, if I want to work with kids, I might start that when I'm a young single person. But once I have a family of my own, if I can't support that family, then I start looking for something else to do. And that's unfair to children. And I also look at especially kids who are in underprivileged neighborhoods. They deserve the best teachers. I don't understand when they take money away from schools that are underperforming. We need to get them and attract those teachers who are the best teachers over there. You know, give them the equipment they need, you know, and stop crapping all over the teachers who are trying their best, you know. And then also, you know, we're dealing with things that aren't even teaching related. The fact that the kid didn't have any breakfast this morning and they're starving, or the kid doesn't have a jacket, so they come in freezing and they're sick, and, you know, all these other issues. So really focusing my work there. I'm working with legislators in Pennsylvania right now to look at the fiscal code and how to adjust some things to put some money where it belongs. Also looking at some of the regulations, making them stringent enough to ensure that kids are getting what they need, but reducing redundancies and things that don't actually help teaching at all. Spending a lot of time there trying to say, what can we do to make sure that every kid gets the start they need so that they have an opportunity? You know, every kid is not going to, you know, want to be a rocket scientist, and then not every kid should be. But I want every kid, if they want to feel like they got the foundation to do that. And the same thing if they want to be an artist or a mechanic or whatever the fuck, right? Because every kid needs to have some basic stuff and they're not getting it. And, and I also think it's not fair to families either, right? Especially on the early ed side with like childcare and nursery school. I mean, in Philadelphia, it can cost you $20,000 to put an infant in care. How the fuck does that make sense? Most people with infants are young people, right? Which means they're starting their career, which means they probably don't have an extra $20,000 to blow. Now, some do, and if you do, awesome, good for you. My first job, I made $19,000, so I didn't have $20,000 to put on the fucking kid. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I look at it. So trying to make sure that we're not falling into this victimization of, you're helping people be lazy. No, you're actually helping people work, because if they don't work, then they stay home and take welfare. And if that's your argument that they're lazy, you've made them lazy because they wanted to get out there and work, and it didn't make sense for them to work a job where they make $24,000 a year and have to pay $20,000 for childcare, because then they can't make a living, because by the time they pay taxes, they're already at $16,000 a year, whatever the fuck, right? So it's a screwy system. So I've really been working in that space, trying to get funding where it needs to be, and helping families. I'm doing not a lot of work on the federal level, but really trying to push. If people don't like it, I don't give a fuck. I'm pushing as hard as I can to get the child tax credit extended. I'm looking to get a lot of pieces of Build Back Better. If the whole bill doesn't pass, there are pieces in it that are so helpful to families. I mean, the fact that 60% of children were raised out of poverty by a tax credit, to me, you got to be an asshole to put them back. And I'm also very fiscally responsible. I believe in not overspending, but I also believe that we can reprioritize and reappropriate money from other places that is being wasted right now and put back into American families. So that's what I'm doing. Trying to help the kids, man. Trying to help the kids.
Sounds like you might get political, man. Would you have do you have any political aspirations? Is that what's going to be going on?
I don't know, to be honest. So before my divorce, I had won 2 elections in my local municipality and was looking to move up the ladder. After my divorce, I moved. So I don't have the same support I would have where I am now. And my new girlfriend is not necessarily looking for me to be a politician. She doesn't necessarily want to have to do the shake hands, kiss babies, go around the world with me. And to be honest, I think I mentioned this to you before we started recording, I'm really enjoying time at home with the family. And I think I might take that on for a while. It doesn't mean that it will never happen. It just means that I don't know that's my immediate future. I think right now I'd rather be the person that legislators are calling. For me, I'm very proud of this. I have Democrats and Republicans calling me saying, how do we fix this? And that, to me, that's a role I want to play, because once you run, you have to stay on one side of the aisle, right? It's very hard to be independent, because even if you sit on one side of the aisle, you caucus with somebody. And right now, being completely neutral as an advocate, as an activist, I'm very proud that Republicans and Democrats both call me, and I'm trying to get them on the same page of, this is what's good for our kids, this is what's good for families, and it's not political. It doesn't matter if you like Trump or Biden. It has neither one of them have a bearing on this past, signing a bill that the legislature really has to put out anyway, right? They sign it. The legislature decides where money goes. And someone once told me we show our values by our budget. So I'm hoping that America starts showing its values for its children and families by budgeting for it.
Well, it's a beautiful story, and it's a beautiful intention, and something you've been doing your whole life on top of all that you've accomplished with the professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Maven Bentley one more time. A brilliant Hall of Fame level career and what you've done in professional wrestling, and good luck to everything you're going to do. And thank you for being a part of the heartbeat that kept professional wrestling alive for almost 2 decades. Thank you so much, Maven.
No problem. Thanks for having me. And I hope you guys have a good day. And whenever this airs, I hope people have a good time watching it.
Now it will. We'll be in where this. You're actually our very first guest ever. We've been open for about a few months, getting some stuff beginning, but our official launch is going to be January 18th, 2022.
Very cool.
Website, and there's even rumors I might be back in the wrestling business myself. As I've been talking to a professional wrestler who might be wanting my services. So I'm super excited about the future, and I want to thank you for being the inspiration you've been. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for High Spots and Cheap Pops, Silicon Steve Valley, Maven Bentley. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys later. Here endeth the lesson. Thank you so much for watching Maven Bentley here on High Spots and Cheap Pops. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and please follow us at HSCP Wrestling on the Twitter.